Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Good Lord, get the microphone adjusted there correctly. All right. Yeah, that was something. A lot to say. I know you guys will too. So this is a call-in live show. Please feel free to call in. I don't know why let me make sure everyone call in live show. Make sure that's there we go. All right. They're already lining up. We've already got a couple on the line. Let's get this thing started. First off, shout out to Patreon supporters. The month is coming to a close. Legendary status members, look at this. JD Note, you're going to have a shot at winning that autographed card. Bobby Portis, autographed card. This is legendary status members. And then Jalen Tate, autographed. So there you go. And then the $8 folks will have a shot at that gorgeous Treylon Burks foil card. And, of course, Lloyd Phillips for the $4 individuals. Shout out to Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Same day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results, hundreds of 5-star reviews. They also offer quality or free estimates. Good Lord. If you're going to ask, I have been drinking a little bit tonight. I've had some rum and Coke. Okay, please, listen, we've been doing our thing. So I'm probably going to, I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to you callers to help carry. Direct service over at the Garage Door Company. Yeah. 501-244-3667. See, I'm not slurring yet. 501-244-3667. They operate out of Northeast Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, and Central Arkansas as well. Oh, my goodness. So much to talk about. Camo Gang says he's back. What's up, man? Turbo. I'm just going to call you Turbo. I'm probably going to struggle reading these two. We had one good year under Pit Boss. Sadly, I think that was a fluke. He can't get it done. Give Bobby the job. Ain't no way he would do any worse. It's hard to argue that. I'm not saying that that's what they should do because, like I've said 1,000 times, Bobby Petrino's fate is tied at the hip to Sam Pittman. That's just the fact of the matter. Let's get the first caller up. Cam, you are on. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on? So I agree with Turbo, but also you got to think Petrino does not want to be a head coach.
That's exactly right.
I mean, and also I don't know if I'm happy that we're going bowling or if we are in a bad spot now because we're keeping Pittman. And like John has always said is, next year, if it's going to be his last year, next year, for sure. And
never say never.
We have so much competition next year, possibly with head coaching hires. Like, why would you not just do it now and get it out of the way? And then that way you don't have to compete with all these other SEC schools that are possibly going to be firing their head coach.
Yeah. John Haas disagrees with the earlier message or super chat. Dude, there's no chance in hell we give it over to Petrino. He's responsible for that stagnant-ass offense we just showed for half a damn game. And this isn't the only game that offense has been, not completely desirable. I mean, let's just be real. As much as people, again, we want to put it on the quarterback or we just want to put it on the offensive line. Like I said in the halftime show, guys, this is a complete shit sandwich. I'm happy they won today. I'm happy they're bowl eligible. I am. Like I also said in Discord, I will never cheer for Arkansas to lose a game, ever. You will never, ever see me do that. What's the point of being a fan? You got to, I don't want to say celebrate, but you got to be happy with a win, no matter how pretty or how ugly. I understand now you're locked in with Sam, and I understand we can go back to the Ty story coming in here and defeating Chad Morris and what that did for Arkansas. But you'll never catch me wishing Arkansas or being happy with a loss or wanting a loss. But yeah, Cam, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, John, like I was telling Mac earlier, on my predictions, I went off of what John was doing because, I mean, first off, he's from Texas. He knows football. I'm from Arkansas. I don't know shit. But
I love it. That is such an
yeah.
inside Discord joke. Everyone else is like, we don't get it. Why would you?
But all right, well, I'm gonna drop so other people can get on the call.
Appreciate you, Cam. You got
Yep.
your 15,000 in Discord XP. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Mac, you're up next. What's going on, man?
Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, so that was the most meh game in a while. It was just not like I said, I'm happy we won. Even though like last week I said like, would it be crazy if I was rooting for Arkansas to or wanting Arkansas to lose? But it's just like, I mean, deep down, of course, I'm always going to want Arkansas to win. But it's just like, we're locked in with Sam. Supposedly, we're locked in with Sam. I mean, I mean, who knows what's going to change from now to tomorrow to 2 weeks from now. But nothing in this game makes me think we beat Missouri, win our bowl game, and definitely not get bowl eligible next year. I mean, probably 4-8 at best for next year.
Depends on what you do in the portal. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
we have to hit the portal hard and can't lose. I mean, Tavion Wallace was visiting Florida State. I think he was just going there to enjoy some nice weather because it was like 65 degrees down in Tallahassee today. But can't lose any. I think we can't lose Singleton. I think we dump Green and have Singleton for next year.
Yeah, they need both these quarterbacks back. I want them both back, and I'll say it again. I want a real quarterback battle to happen in the offseason because I don't know that it's a guarantee that Green keeps that job. I mean, you know, there's no guarantee.
Competition makes quarterbacks stronger. I mean, you can't just be like, okay, here. You can't just hand the keys to a 16-year-old and be like, okay, here you go. Go ahead and drive. You gotta let them. You gotta teach them. You gotta show them what to do. And I mean, I don't know if that's the best comparison, but
I hear you. No, I get what you're saying. Like I said, I'm never going to root for Arkansas to lose a game. However, had they lost today,
hold on. Hold on. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, about to have to go in a minute. We can get some tipsy tie spins tonight.
Probably.
Right.
Probably going to be some tipsy tie spins tonight. I'm on like full. This is a freaking Stanley Cup, baby.
You're getting litty.
Getting there, buddy.
As the kids say.
That's right. All right, man. Appreciate you calling in.
All right, appreciate it.
Take it easy. Bill Clinton, favorite secretary. What's going on?
Hey, man. You know, I'm going to start off. I'm not going to shit on Pittman right off rip. I'm going to say shout out Rashad Dubinion. That man ran like a man possessed tonight.
Played well.
He looked amazing.
As the game went on, yeah.
That first half was ugly. Not fun football to watch, but whatever. That's just what we should expect from this team at this point. Remind me of it's just this game tonight reminded me so much of the FIU game from last year. Like sluggish, we didn't play well. We let them score like more than they did the whole year. And afterwards, it's like, okay, Pittman's fine. He's going to come back.
Yeah.
Just it feels almost like 1-to-1 with that game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was sluggish. It was rough. Like Tim said, shout out to Tim Neal, co-host of SEC Unleashed. He says, please give me the effort of the Arkansas basketball team in the first half and the effort of the football team in the second half. Why can't either team put a complete game together? It's a really good question.
Ugh, that basketball game was rough in the second half, but I won't get into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the game itself, like, I'm never going to root for us to lose. I kind of wanted us to a little bit, but I wasn't going to root for it. But it's just so frustrating, and I just don't understand the people who think that Petrino is going to come in and like save us, because it's the offense that was called in the first half of that game was Petrino's offense. Taylor Green is Petrino's quarterback. It's not like it's all Sam Pittman's fault in this whole mess.
Right. I mean, he at the end of the day, he is the head coach, and the product on the field is a reflection of the head coach. I mean, that's just, there's no way around it. The blame it should roll uphill. I mean, it should. I mean, if you're not putting, if you put together, we've seen too many halves play out like that. And we saw it last year, right? Played really good the first half, great defensive effort, and then fall apart in the second half. We saw that last year. We saw that the year before last. Eventually, we just have to come to the conclusion that there's one common denominator. With all these changes on both sides of the ball, whether it's personnel or coaching staff, there's one common denominator. It's Sammy Pitty. It's just that it's all there is to it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I don't fully disagree.
Oh, no, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a coach that most normal programs probably would have fired already. I mean, that's just like the way it is right now. I mean, I don't think Auburn would sit around and let him stay.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, every team has a different standard. In Arkansas, standard right now is 6 to 7 games. That's the standard. I mean, whether you like it or not, you can disagree with it all you want, but I mean, they have shown that is the standard. And the fact that they didn't fire him after a 4-8 season with your only win against a team that's worse than you are, which was the Florida Gators, on the road. What else is there to really say? I mean, it's unfortunate. I've been saying this since they brought him back, since Hunter Yurchek came out and said, we're not, Sam's going to be the coach next year. I said from that moment on, they're making a mistake. You're going to get more of this. However, I want to make this perfectly clear. Pittman was a good hire. I don't want anyone to think that I'm shitting on Pittman or on Bobby Petrino. Excuse me.
Oh, for
Bobby
sure.
Petrino was a good hire. Let me clarify. You're better on offense. You're a top 12 offense in the country. Green has had his moments. He's a double-edged sword. He's going to make mistakes. This game is actually a really good example of what Green is as a quarterback. To be fair, Louisiana Tech's defense is pretty good. They are pretty good. But Green broke through. The running game, DeBinion broke through. Offensive line finally started getting a little bit of push. But Petrino was a good hire. You are better. This is far better than Dan Enos. And I don't know what to make the Mizzou game. I don't know. Like right now, we're gonna have to wait. We're gonna start the Enemy Insider tomorrow. I'm gonna start watching video and looking at their PFF Insider analytics. I'm gonna try and get as good of a gander at it as I can. God only knows you've not won there. Pittman does not have great success against those guys. So,
yeah, I don't think that's changing. But I will finish off with one more point. I actually was talking to someone earlier, and they brought up this very interesting point that what coach, like let's say like a Lashley or a Signetti, looking at this situation, wants to come into this team with the schedule we have next year? Because we have a murderer's row next year.
It's going to be tough.
Why not just let Pittman take the fall next year, and then you come in with a whole new clean slate?
Yeah, but we're not entirely sure what that 2026 schedule is going to look like outside the fact that you are going to get some more teams at home. You're going to get some more SEC teams at home, but every year in this league, it's going to be tough. Next year does line up pretty difficult. You got Notre Dame at home, and then you're at Memphis. Like, holy shit.
That's not an easy non-conference schedule.
It's not.
I think that might be one of the hardest ones in the country.
That's brutal. And Arkansas State.
You're at Memphis.
Yeah.
It's like not even a gimme.
Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, right? Then you got Notre Dame. We don't know how the schedule is going to fully go out, but that's tough, man. And Arkansas State might even be a problem, and you've got them in Little Rock. You've not exactly played lights out there either. We got more calls lining up here, but I appreciate you for calling.
Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely.
Too.
Let me make this clear before we get some more callers in here, and they're lining up. Again, I'm not suggesting that Bobby is a bad. Here's what is, I think, the reality of what's happening. we are seeing, whether you want to admit it or not, that the numbers don't lie. He is getting better. Talking about Green, his clean pocket numbers have gone up. His completion percentage numbers have gone up. His when blitzed numbers have gone up. I think it's up something like, I want to say compared to about 3 weeks ago, it's up about 6%. So not a massive jump, but a pretty good jump. His pressured snaps are better in terms of the passing game. However, it's the stuff that you see with your own two eyes that are problematic. Yeah, his numbers are doing better. Great. Awesome. I don't think we should ignore those. However, pocket collapses. Green doesn't know what to do. I mean, it's like deer in headlights. He's going to run right into somebody. We saw him tonight actually tuck it and run and look pretty good. Let's go over these numbers here really quick for Louisiana Tech. Again, before we get these callers lined up, we've got about 3 more lined up at the moment. So if you want to call in, get on the line. I'm taking these in order. But let's start with Louisiana Tech really quick. Evan Bullock, 26 of 43, horrendous passing. I mean, Arkansas secondary did a pretty good job of confusing this guy. 190 yards, 4.4 yards per completion, 2 touchdowns. They ran the ball 33 times for 39 yards. That's 1.2 yards per carry. Of course, Evan Bullock is going to account for minus 14 of those because of sacks. True Edwards was caught. He caught, I think, just about every pass he was targeted, maybe outside of 1 or 2. But True Edwards, 8 catches, 53 yards. Jimmy Holiday had that slick little touchdown. I think it was maybe a 20-yarder where he ended up in the end zone. And then Eli Finley had a touchdown. He had 3 grabs, 17 yards. Zymos played out of his mind. Former Razorback, 10 tackles. He had 1.5 TFLs. He played really good. Also had did he not have the fumble recovery? Am I tripping? Didn't he have the fumble recovery? They say he recovered it. ESPN says he did recover it. But Arkansas, of course, putting the ball on the ground entirely too much. Looking at the stats for Arkansas. Green, these numbers you look at and you go, yeah, I believe it's 17 incompletions. Now, I think maybe 2 of which might have been drops. 6 yards per reception, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. So it's 20 of 37 for 221 yards. However, he did run the ball 6 times for 61 yards with a pair of touchdowns. So he did have a 4-touchdown performance. Okay. I'll continue to say it. He is the ultimate double-edged sword, unlike anything I've ever seen. DeBinion caught fire as this game went on. 15 carries, 112 yards. That's just shy of 8 yards per carry. Louisiana Tech hadn't seen a run attack quite like this. 16 carries for Jaquin Jackson. He had a couple of okay runs. His longest run for the line of scrimmage was 13. DeBinion's was 18. However, Taylon Green had the 41-yarder. Rodney Hill, 1 carry for 7 yards. Andrew Armstrong. How about his game? 8 catches, 81 yards. And by the way, he's the 5th Arkansas. Isn't that wild? They've only ever had 5 1,000-yard receivers. He makes number 5. However, he's still got just the 1 touchdown on the year. Centennia, 5 catches, 54 yards. How about Tesla? Both his catches, 38 yards were touchdowns. Good for him. His longest from the line of scrimmage was 27. Arkansas did a pretty good job getting after the quarterback, getting pressures, 6 TFLs, 3 sacks. They also had, I'm pretty sure, if this isn't a season high, it's up there. 5 total pass breakups in a single game. That's not half bad. So again, 3 sacks, 6 TFLs, 5 pass breakups. Now, you're going to ask me, why was this a shit show? Well, first off, did you watch the game? Second off, 3 special teams blunders, and I think I might actually be missing a 4th. Two special team returns called back, 1 because of a penalty, 1 because the returner had his knee down. A fake field goal by Louisiana Tech that gave them 1st down and 10 inside the Razorback 10-yard line. Armstrong with the fumble. Multiple pressures by Louisiana Tech. I can't wait to see what that number looks like tomorrow because it felt like quite a bit. Green completely out of sync with everybody. Jackson's 30-plus yard run wiped out by a holding penalty on Blackstock. Muffed punt by Centennia. Yet another example of these punt returners, these blockers not knowing what the hell they're doing. So another blocker running into Centennia, which forced the muffed punt. a 40-yard interception called back off a late hit, giving Louisiana Tech the ball back. Fake punt by Louisiana Tech. There it is. Fake punt by Louisiana Tech. That was a huge gain in the fourth quarter. And then Centennial kneeling. I don't know. Did anyone else see that? He kneeled at the 14-yard line on kick return. Why? And I realized it didn't matter, but why would you do that? Like, what was he? Did he think he was in the end zone? Like, and there's so many more blunders that I don't have. This was a shit show. That first half was a shit show. They got into rhythm. They found a little bit of energy. There's no doubt in my mind this offense thrives off momentum. Green is better once they have some positive momentum. Of course, you had that big kick return that was called back for a touchdown as well, or that was the touchdown that was called back. That was also, I don't know if I mentioned that in the list of blunders, but it's just one thing after another. First off, if you're going to make any changes on this staff, well, I'll just tell you, I don't know that it's with the offensive or defensive staffs. I'll just say that special teams today was. Look, I'm not saying fire fountain. I am asking, what's it take for that guy to come back for his 6th year? I get that he's a recruiter. That's what everyone pushes back. Ty, he's a great recruiter. Great. Why does his team almost every week, every year he's been here, they've got 1 or 2 mess ups every single game? I'll give them that their punt team actually gets on the field this year. We don't have penalties for delay a game because you don't have all your personnel on 4th down to go out and punt the ball. I don't think that's happened, but maybe once this year off the top of my head. I'll give them that. That's great. Kick coverage for the most part up until today has been pretty solid. There's some things they do pretty well. My God, there's so many things at this special teams, whether it's punt return, kick return, whatever. There's so many issues on special teams. And then again, the defense plays lights out, only to have the offense play the way they did. I don't know. It is what it is. Brandon, you're on the line. What's up, man?
Man, not a whole lot. How's it going for you?
Oh, I'm enjoying some rum and Coke.
No, but I will start it off by saying congratulations to our seniors for their last game in Fayetteville. I was happy for them to get the dub. But overall, I'm sitting here listening to you talk about Green. I was a Green writer, and now I've kind of in the middle. But I'll say this: as the year has went on, I do agree. Green has improved slightly in all them areas, and it's like, well, if you give Green one more year, what is he capable of doing under Bobby Petrino? Through the off season, actually getting some better training and got the feel of playing in the SEC now and starting to understand it. I feel like maybe, Bobby's really good at developing players. You look at Matt Ryan, you look at Tyler Wilson. Casey Dick there with him? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at them, those were 3 good quarterbacks. I mean, Ryan Mallett struggled. You go back, Ryan Mallett struggled, but I mean, Bobby was able to develop him into a good player. So it's like, I think next year Green is going to be better. I mean, I like to see Singleton, because I feel like he deserves a chance at least. But it's like my real big thing is this. How many players are we going to lose at the end of the season? And how much is it going to affect with the drama with the tight ends being released? How much is that going to impact them at the end of the season?
Well, I mean, tight ends haven't been a big part of this offense. I mean,
yeah, but it's the drama mixed up. And I don't know if you listen to other podcasts, but I listen to Hogs Pog and Woo Pig, and they've had Gums and 4th and 5. They've had Ty on there, and just listening to their side of the story, to me it seems like what's happening in the locker room with them, because I don't know Sam Pittman's side. I've just heard theirs, but it's kind of makes sense because they're both kind of similar. But it's like how much does that impact other players at the end of the year? Like I'm just ready to get out of here.
Oh, you're just talking about the drama in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like every year they've had something. And listen, talking with other, podcasts that follow different teams, that's not unique to Arkansas. Every year, there's so many schools that have this problem. It's not unique to Arkansas, but it does follow a very common trend. I have not listened. I listened to Ty Washington's interview. I haven't listened to Varkey's Gums. Don't get me wrong. I'm always interested to see what's going on the inside. I usually have a pretty okay idea of what's going on. It is nice to hear from these players. But yeah, I always urge caution with those because we're only getting one side of the story. We're not getting the other side to the story. And I'm not saying they're full of shit. I'm not saying that Washington or Gums were lying. I'm not implying that at all. But sometimes you need all the puzzles to put together the puzzle itself. You need all the pieces to the puzzle to just know exactly what's going on. But this is a common trend. So is there something there? Is Pittman, is it something with his staff? I mean, let's not forget the Poop Hall stuff a year ago, right? I mean, the strength conditioning, we were told the strength conditioning, there might have been some issues there with some staff members. I mean, it's every year. It's a common trend. But again, it's not unique to Arkansas that's happening. I've had a really interesting conversation with another person on another pod who will tell you that actually Arkansas' situation is pretty tame compared to their situation because they've got issue after issue. So, I don't know. My whole thing is it's great that they went out and they interviewed and they're willing to talk to people. I don't ever reach out to players for that stuff. Sometimes I'm not going to lie to you. You don't always know what you're going to get in those interviews. You don't know what they're going to say. So I'm like, you know what? Let's let you guys can do it. I'm just going to report on what I know and what I'm told and just kind of reflect on what's happening. But yeah, listen, I would say you kind of get what you get with Sam. And this is why I urged caution when they decided to retain him for year 6. My exact response was, well, don't expect much change. Hiring Petrino was a right move, whether, people agree with that or not. I don't know. I mean, they are better on offense. There's no doubt they're better on offense. They do have a quarterback situation in terms of a guy that struggles to finish off drives, a guy that takes sacks, a guy that panics when that pocket crumbles. This is all stuff I want them to fix in the offseason if they retain both these quarterbacks, and let's have a real quarterback battle. But, yeah, I mean, let's hope that there's no more drama. And I mean, it is what it is. Pittman's coming back. Now you got to go kill it in the portal. I mean, that's all you can do. You could say, I'm done. I don't want to watch this anymore. That's great. That's fine. I understand that. But for everybody else that's going to stick around and watch Arkansas football, that's all you can hope for. Now you got to make the right moves with your coaching staff, and you got to kill it in the portal. And they're going to need to really kill it in the portal. They need they need to hit the reset button, Brandon.
Yeah, I appreciate letting me come in here. Last thing, Pittman has to really build a man, I can't even get it out now. He has to build a it's one of the reasons Pooh Paul left. I can't even get it out. Well, if I come to it, I type it in the chat.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you, man.
All right, appreciate you.
Take it easy, Brandon.
You too.
We got Jeremy on the line. We got 3 callers up. What's going on, man?
Hey, Ty, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Nice. I mean, I don't know. You know my stance on everything. As I've called in a few times, I mean, you looked ugly against the Louisiana Tech team, and I mean, I guess we can go have fun at the Liberty Bowl or the Birmingham Bowl. I mean, and people say, well, we're making a bowl game. I mean, man, it's year 5. And the thing is, I mean, you watched this team against Louisiana Tech, and it was ugly. It was ugly. I mean, it almost was a lot closer than what the final score indicated. They, had the ball at 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line, didn't capitalize on it. They picked up a 4th down driving, in the second half, ended up fumbling the ball. Who knows what could happen there? I mean, and you can just tell, like, the team never consistently looks good. One week, the defense looks good, the offense looks bad. The next week, the offense looks good, defense looks bad. Then you have weeks where neither of them look good. And that is a sign of bad coaching and inconsistent football. And it's year 5, and we've just seen the same things over and over again. And I don't know, like, as burnt out as I am, I mean, it's hard not watching the Hogs because regardless of what people tell me, I am a true Arkansas football fan and want what's best for the program. Maybe I'm a little more negative, as they say, or as I like to put it, maybe just a little more logical and rational rather than just thinking with emotional output. But it's one of those things where it doesn't feel right. I personally was of the thought that after 4-8 and 6-6 last season, Sam Pittman should have been let go. Bring him back, and you're more than likely going to go 6-6 again in year 5. So, and my last point, Ty, people can always make excuses why, well, it's not the good time to make the change, right? Or, the revenue sharing is coming up, next year's schedule, this, that, or the other. It's always going to be like that. You play in the SEC, your schedule is always going to be daunting. There's always going to have to be some sort of buyout that's going to have to be paid out. And honestly, there's really no other coaching vacancies that's going to open up. So you really don't have to compete with the likes of Auburn or Florida or one of those bigger schools to compete for a head coach. Like, I would make the argument this is probably your best time to look for a head coach. So I know you've got other callers, man, but I just wanted to kind of vent a little bit. And I guess we're going bowling with an ugly win versus Louisiana Tech. So take care, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you calling in, Jeremy. Yeah, he's not wrong. You're going to a ugly bowl game unless you can get an upset over Missouri, and I'm not even sure what that does. 6 wins versus 7. Someone says they see why I'm a dream. Are they talking to me? Jake Harris, are you talking to me? I'm gonna find it. What did he say? Is this a shot at me? I'm a Dream fan? Or are you talking to somebody else? Right here. Jake, what do you mean? I can see why he's a Dream fan. What does that mean? What does that mean? I'm not a Dream fan. Listen. All right? We have fun here. Hang on. Before we get to these next 2 callers, we got July and John on the line. Before we get to them, we do need to get a player of the game. All right? We got to get a player of the game. Now, I was hoping someone on defense would just absolutely dominate. I did like the way Landon Jackson played. He did have a couple TFLs and a sack, but I don't know, is that enough to give him the player of the game? But why not give it to the guy? We already talked about him. He just broke 1,000 yards. He's the 5th receiver to do it. Why not give it to Andrew Armstrong? Why not? I wanted to give it to DeBinion, but I'm going to go to Armstrong. Call me biased. I don't know, but Andrew Armstrong, congratulations. You're the 5th wide receiver to do it at Arkansas, 1,000 yards. And you're doing it with all the issues that they have on offense. And I am just, you've got to tip your cap to his performance. That guy's tough. Yeah, he fumbled the ball. That was a hell of a shot. That was actually just a good play, really, by the defender. Shout out to Andrew Armstrong, my man. You get it. You get it. I know, bot. He coughed up the ball. Go back and watch the play. It was clearly just a good play by the defender. I'm, you know what? You've only ever had 5 do it, and he had a solid game. I'm going to give it to Andrew Armstrong. There you go. Does the sentiment change? This is a really interesting question about Mizzou. Here's what's crazy about this year, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. Hear me out. If you did beat Missouri, that's your 7th win. And in a game you're not supposed to win, by the way. Missouri's, they're what was the end of their game? I know they struggled with Mississippi State a little bit. They won 39-20. They're going to be ranked. They're going to be at home. We've never done that before. We've never gone there and beaten them. God, that sucks. That's so silly. You beat them. Again, I'm not saying it happens. And then you get a little bit better bowl game and you win that game. Let's say that there's a lot of, grasping at straws. I know you guys are going to claim that I'm doing that, but I'm just saying if that were to happen, remember, we weren't supposed to beat Penn State. The Razorbacks weren't supposed to beat Penn State without Treylon Burks, and they did that. So who knows? Maybe they do, whoever they play, whatever bowl game, and now you've got you finish with 8 wins on the year. You're probably bringing back Petrino. Hopefully they make some changes in certain areas on the staff. You know what I'm talking about, but I want to see T-Will back. I want to see some guys. I want to see upgrades along the line of scrimmage on both sides, right? You do all this. You go out and you get some killers, receivers. some killer receivers. You bring back Luke Has, the tight end, and you have a real quarterback battle in the offseason. I don't know, man. You start to kind of look at that like, all right, yeah, we got a tough schedule. It's going to be tough. We just talked about it at Memphis. You got Notre Dame on top of the fact that you're going to have to travel to Ole Miss and LSU. I mean, these are going to be tough games. You're going to host A&M. Pretty sure that's right. They're going to host A&M. It's going to be a tough schedule. You do feel a little bit better even if let's say you just win 7 games, whatever. You feel better that you're at least maybe you have a real quarterback battle in the offseason and these guys get another year with Petrino. I know a lot of you are done and out and you don't like Petrino. Someone in chat said, what have they gotten better at? Well, I mean, if you look at Green's PFF numbers, and I'm not talking about the grades, I'm talking about the actual analytics, the stuff that's happening on the field. He has improved in certain areas, and that's exactly what we said was probably going to happen. He's going to get better as the season progresses, and he has. Today was a shit show in the first half. I would say 60% of this game was not good by Arkansas on offense, but Louisiana Tech, I don't know, man. I mean, they should have played better. There's no doubt. Arkansas should have played better today. I'm not denying that, but we have seen some improvement throughout the season. You go back to earlier in the year, it's like, my God, the offense is going backwards, we thought. And then they Green came along, and I think we've discovered that Green plays better when they have momentum, when they're in rhythm. When you see them moving the ball quickly down the field, they're pretty damn good. Maybe they could figure all that out in the offseason. I don't know. Track records show that another year with Petrino, anything's possible, right, in terms of getting better and getting where you need. Listen, I know so many of you let go of the rope, and anything I say you're going to disagree with. You're going to, shit on anything about this team in the offseason. I get it. It's really easy to be super pessimistic right now because this team hasn't given you much to be super optimistic about. However, last year you won 4. This year you are going to a bowl game. Missouri's not out of reach. They're not out of reach. They're not. Now, right now, today, if you ask me if they were playing Missouri tonight, would I pick Mizzou to win? Yeah, I would. But, it's not out of reach. A year ago, it was way out of reach. And also, to be fair, Missouri was a much better football team a year ago. But there have been some improvements. The defense is so hot and cold. I don't know why we're not talking more about that. The defense, 1 week, dynamite. The next week, not so much. July, what's going on, man?
Hey, can you hear me, Ty?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Sweet, man. I just wanted to come in and say, I mean, the game did suck. And I'm not trying to be a dreamer here or find too many goods. I will say, though, the score should have been 1 to 2 touchdowns, even more difference. The refs screwed us over twice on a pick and on that return kick. But I wanted to come in and say, I said it earlier and you agreed with me. I'm not saying Petrino's a bad coach, but last year when he got hired, I wanted Sam gone. And I told my friends, I told people in the chat, I said, this is a trap. This is, hey, we're going to save Sam's job for 1 more year. Things are going to change. And it worked. Again, not saying he's a bad coach. Our offense is so much better than it was under Enos. It's not even – I don't think it's even comparable. But I said it was a trap because this is a situation we're in now where it's, do you get rid of Sam, who's been the consistent issue for the last 5-6 years, or do you keep him because Bobby gets to do year 2 of his offense with Green or Malachi at the head, and he can really get it under lock and key, keep T-Will if we can, and see what happens next year. But we're just running into an issue where Sam should be gone because he's a consistent issue, but now we've got 2 coaches that might make a difference and a head coach that might stop that difference.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was a trap when we hired Bobby. I am happy we won. Armstrong is an absolute dog. Without him this season, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if we win a lot of the games we won. That dude, every time he touches the ball, he's fighting for 5, 6, 7 yards.
Who's that? Who'd you say?
Armstrong.
Yeah.
He's an absolute dog.
Yeah.
But we get to go to a bowl game. I hope we beat Mizzou. I hate them. A bunch of meth head inbred idiots up there. I can't stand them. I want to see them cry and suffer. But I'm expecting us to lose, get a bowl game, some crap bowl game, and I don't know, middle of nowhere, Alabama, probably where Mac lives. Get an easy win, and then, the whole talk then is we got 7 wins and won a bowl game. Look at us now.
Well, I
But-
mean, listen, 7 wins and a bowl win is pretty good, though.
I mean, 7 with the bowl win.
Oh, well, yeah. I get it. Fifth year, you want more. I understand that.
And I'm not expecting a national championship. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's just we kind of see now, and I hate to say this because I hate the man, but Sam's best year was with Chad Morris's players.
Yeah.
And it makes me sick to say that, but it's the truth. So I don't know. And then if you get rid of Sam, we risk losing the 26 class that he's lined up and all that stuff. But that's pretty much all I got. I got one more thing to say because I know the Discord's going to want me to say it.
Oh,
Austin, Poppy, all you guys, listen. I love this shit, dog!
Okay. All right. There was that. John, what's up, man?
Oh boy. So let's take a look at Talon for a second.
Okay.
How many times has he had sacks that are more than 10 yards?
I don't know that number off the top of my head, but it's at least an average of 7 to 8 yards every time he gets sacked.
All right. How much containment do you expect tackles to have when you're that far back? I'm a truck driver. I know blind spots. When Talon is back that far, that lets those edge rushers get outside, get depth, and they're going to blow our tackles up. I wouldn't say that our offensive line has been as terrible as we think it is. If you look at it, when Talon stays within that 5 to 6 yard range, he's not getting sacked. He's got time. Then he dips out, rolls out, drops straight back, and that's when we're losing him. That's my first issue with Talon. My second issue with Talon is he doesn't go through a progression. It's first look, roll out. And then when he rolls out, he won't make the decision to tuck that ball and run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've pointed that out here before, that he doesn't there's a delay. He hangs onto the ball too long and doesn't get rid of doesn't either take off and run if there's a gap somewhere along the line of scrimmage, or he doesn't just get rid of the ball. He'll either take the sack. I mean, yeah, those are fair. That's fair.
So, it's a miracle that Armstrong got to 1,000 yards. And 2, my whole reason for Singleton is that he gets it out quicker, he makes his decisions faster, and he doesn't go way back. He's protected. That's why when you see him in the game, they may be nickel and diming down the field, but they're still getting down the field.
Yeah. Well, you're getting a rebuttal here, and I think this is fair. To be fair, you have to have time in your pocket to go through your progressions.
He does. When he stays within that 6 to 4 yard range in that pocket, he has time.
Do you know how often he's pressured? Do you know what the percentage is?
Constantly. He's a mobile quarterback. They're going to pressure him.
Okay, fair. But if you want him to stay in the pocket, and Bobby Petrino wants him to do that too, he's getting pressured 40% of his snaps.
But I don't want him to stay in the pocket. Because that's not what he is.
That's awful. That is bad. That's not good. That's 40% of the time he's getting pressured. So he doesn't have time to necessarily go through all of his progressions. And by the way, tonight I did see him a couple of times. If you watch his helmet, and QB Spotlight and I have talked about this, watch his helmet. He will dump it off. He's getting a little bit better at that. Not saying he's been great. Just watch his helmet. He is going through reads the best he can. We also have to remember this is the first year in a very complex offense. So on top of the issues they have with their offensive line not blocking, because listen, you're going to lose me if you say the offensive line hasn't been a problem. You're going to lose me because they have been. They've been a problem.
Especially that right side. Blackstock and Braun, you can send them both packing.
Blackstock has been atrocious.
And he want to hold out for more money, and that's what we get.
Well, yeah.
Take your ass back to Michigan.
Harris has been rough. I mean, it's their numbers. I mean, it you could see it with your eyeballs, or you could see it in the numbers. It's not what you would expect. Let's be real. No one here in chat watching this now or after the fact when we're done, no one would assume 5 years ago that their offensive line would look like it has these last 3 years.
And that's why Pittman gotta go. We gonna lose 7, 8 games next year anyway with the way our schedule looks. Let the new guy take those. Hell, maybe he'll win them.
Yeah.
Petrino hasn't made our offense that much better. We're about 4 points a game better.
Yeah. 40 is twice what you could tolerate. Says Will Simple. I will say that I don't expect you guys are going to catch me saying something this next week about, oh my God, my dogs are going nuts. Mizzou's going to be a very interesting challenge for Green. And everyone who's on the get Green out of there, you're gonna have a major W against Mizzou. That is that's a defense that's very well disciplined. I think they've got some injuries, but who doesn't? That's going to be an interesting game for Green, and it's going to be one that I think a lot of people are going to be wondering why they didn't try Malachi. I mean, I've watched a little bit of Mizzou this year, and I am a little bit concerned with what they can do and what they can show him when you're talking about just the different pressures, how they mask their coverage. They're a very fascinating matchup for Green. So put in Malachi folks are, I think, going to have a big W next weekend, if I'm being honest with you. And I'm not saying they're right or wrong.
If it's going to come to it, make the move.
I agree.
Tell Taylor, hey, dog, appreciate you. I don't know that you really done anything for me. Because let's look at it. Is Taylor any better than he was at Boise State? Really?
Yeah, in some categories he is.
He's out here making these Conference USA teams look like scrubs. But he ain't doing that in the SEC.
Well, no. But again, it goes back to we can't, if we're going to look at the big picture, John, we have to understand that this is a different system. This is a different offense. He's not going to come in and blow those numbers away from a year ago. On top of that, let's be real, man. The skill position players on this offense, outside of maybe Luke Has, dude, and Andrew Armstrong, man, they don't have a lot of weapons. I have not been impressed with these guys as far as getting open when he does have time. It's not to say that that's always the case. And Green has his own fair share of issues. My God, golly. I mean,
is Desmond James that bad that he can't get on the field? Is Davion Dozier that bad he can't get on the field?
Yeah, they're
when
young.
You got Broden out here dropping 30% of his targets.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy. The drops have been crazy.
I think maybe we need to have that talk about Pittman's loyalty to some of these guys.
I agree.
I think maybe it's time we have a look at what the hell we're actually doing at practice. You closed off practice. We can't see what you're doing. What the hell are you doing? Because when you come out in the first 25 minutes of a game, you look like that.
Yeah.
Against Louisiana Tech. Oh, no. You're supposed to come out and steamroll them, and they were bullying us.
Yeah, they
were sides of the ball.
They were winning up front. It took until the fourth, really later in the second half, before the offensive line started to get pushed. I mean, outside of a couple of good Green runs, I mean, they were really struggling to get the ball going on the ground.
It's just, I think we've seen what Talon is. We've seen what Sam is. And Bobby ain't been that impressive either. I know it's new system, new guys, all that.
Mm-hmm.
Call the plays that work for your guys. Talon ain't hit a wheel route all year. Quit calling it.
He hasn't. The wheel route has been his kryptonite.
We've seen Cowboy go get it one time.
That's amazing. That should be one of the easiest throws. He made a throw today that was pretty impressive. He threw across the field. I don't remember it might have been Centennia. I don't remember who the target was, but it's a pretty impressive throw. But it's like, why can you make that throw, but you can't hit a simple wheel route when the guy is wide open?
And here's the thing: the wheel route, and it was Armstrong on a curl that he hit from across the field like that. The wheel route and that curl route, you hit him in the same spot.
Yeah.
Why can't you hit that? Do you got to see the number? Is that his problem? Does he have to see their numbers?
I don't know.
I don't
know, man.
I don't know.
First year as a head coach, only had 500 seasons. Says Mike. They his first year as a coach, which I don't know that we want to compare that to being a coordinator, especially when you're talking about pre-portal, pre-NIL era versus today. It's very difficult to compare. I see people doing that. I'd be careful. I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying. Brim is also on the line too. I'm going to get him pulled up here in just a minute. John, let me give you your $15K, sir.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna just say this one last thing. Our NIL budget is low. Low. We have to have that number up. And whether you want Sam or not, that number's got to grow.
I agree.
Either give Sam what he needs to go get guys, and let's see what he's got with that, or be ready to pony up when we get the next guy in. Because that little bitty number we got ain't doing it. And you're probably going to have to pony up and go get a tight end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. They just had to replace – they got to replace 2 as it is on top of the guys that are graduating.
Yeah, and on top of that, old number 9 who probably won't be wearing that cardinal and white.
Yeah. All right, man. You got anything else?
No, I'm going to take this dumb dog in the house and chill out for a little bit.
All right, man. Appreciate you calling in, John.
All right, boss.
See you, man. I don't know if I left you out and you called in on the for Tusk Talk Discord. Let me know. Let me know if I skipped you. We got Brim. What's going on, Brim? What do you got? What's up? Not a one of you, by the way, have had your faces on camera. Not one. I don't know that that's ever happened before.
Check it out.
There it is. There's Brim. You look like you've been out in the deer woods, man.
No, I've just been doing a lot of cleaning and I gotta go to work. I haven't slept at all, but I'm gonna be off for the next 6 days after tonight. So it is what it is. But it's a going theme here. We'll spend the first half sitting here like, what the hell is going on? We need a quarterback change, and then Taylor Green to shape up a little bit and play well enough to be able to stay in the game. And this didn't happen multiple games in a row. I don't want to be a jerk. But I'm just going to be real. And I'm going to tell some of you fans, some of my fellow Hog fans, y'all soft as baby dookie. Just letting you be known. I got people arguing with me talking about, you should be happy with a bowl game. You're going to celebrate. Bro, I'm not going to get excited about the Chester Cheetos Bowl. I'm not. I mean, it's cool that we're going to a bowl game. I guess. But all bowls are not created equal. All wins are not created equal. All records are not created equal. Yeah, we won today. I mean, we should win today, obviously, but there is no reason the score was 0-0 after the first quarter.
No.
And TG does the TG things. He'll make a fantastic play, have a horrible throw, make a great throw, then miss a receiver that's open. It's just an ongoing thing, and I think we've seen TG ceiling. And I think that gets me so much, and I mean, people will probably beef with me at this. Malachi chose to come here as a freshman. Mm-hmm. We got TG from the transfer portal. And I hear you talking about it, and almost everybody talking about it. Malachi never got a real shot at the job. Mm-hmm. He was not given a real opportunity. They gave the keys to TG from the jump. He didn't earn the job.
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. Did he conduct himself as a solid young man? Yeah. But we're talking about wins and losses here. I'm not, this is not attacking him as a person. This is just about the game itself. And we've seen TG ceiling. We have not seen Malachi ceiling. And I'm telling you this, next year, if TG's our quarterback, it's going to be a bad year for us. Malachi won't probably be back. And I want Malachi. That's who I want for my quarterback. I'm a wish Greenwell. I'm a want him to win because he's the quarterback for my team. But there's no denying anything. I've given Green plenty of opportunities. I have got behind him. I'm a Malachi Singleton guy. Period. Always was. Always will be. But I gave TG a fair shot. I didn't undermine him. I said, listen, I want to see him grow and cultivate and give him opportunity. We saw a little growth, but he's the same quarterback as he was at Boise State with a little bit extra. Do you disagree with that? He's the
No.
same quarterback as he was at Boise State with a little bit extra, just a little bit.
There are areas he has improved in, but the problem is it's just kind of it's not enough. Like, it's not what you expect. We're not talking about a freshman quarterback, right? We're talking about a third-year guy who's got a lot of starts under his belt. Again, like I told John and like I've said to chat, this is a different system, different vernacular, different language. It's pretty damn complex. Everyone has talked about. Tyler Wilson used to go on the radio up here in Northwest Arkansas and talk about how complex that offense is, and it is a 2-year offense. And that doesn't just mean with the quarterback. That means getting continuity back with your receivers as well. It's not a plug-and-play system the way you'd think that it would be. Case in point, no one outside of Andrew Armstrong has really done that well in this offense.
But the thing is, though, Ty, that's because he spent more time eyeing one receiver and not doing a lot more catching.
I don't deny that. Yeah, I don't deny that at all. But to be fair, it's not like these guys are always open, and it's not like Green has more than about 2 seconds to get rid of the ball.
See, I gotta push back with you on that because
How?
when he has time, sometimes he doesn't make the right decisions, Ty. He's had times where he had time, and he's made the offensive line look worse by his decisions. A quarterback can make an offensive line better or worse based on how he plays the game.
But a quarterback is not responsible for blocking the guys in front of him.
He's not responsible for blocking the guys, but he's responsible for the assignments. He's responsible for the direction of where the protections are going to be at.
And we don't know. Listen, that's all hyperbole. We have no idea if he is the problem or not. If he's not sliding his protection, we don't know. Pittman hasn't said that he is. And based on what we did see, it seemed like he did a fairly decent job through camp. Like, there was never any concern about him not sliding protections. I have brought that up. And I've said maybe he is the problem, but we don't know. Now, again, go back and watch this dude. He is pressured 40% of his snaps. So all I'm saying is, this goes back to the comment you made about Malachi. You're saying that Malachi tips the scales and they win more games with Malachi at quarterback. But this is a shit sandwich, man. This isn't just on the quarterback. This is the offensive line. This is receivers dropping balls. It's been the defense, who, by the way, ranks where? In pass coverage, passing yards allowed, rushing yards allowed, passing efficiency. They're atrocious.
Hold up. Now I got to give you pushback. Outside of the Ole Miss game, the games that we lost is because offense didn't do enough to keep the defense to keep you in the game, and the offense didn't do enough.
Why was that? What did Ole Miss do? They killed and dominated the line of scrimmage. Listen, I'm not here to say that Malachi is worse than TG or the other way around. I'm only telling you this is a big shit sandwich, and just removing the cheese is not enough, my man. Malachi is not enough to move the needle to make a huge difference. I just don't think he is yet. Will he be with another year in the offseason and we get a real battle? Who knows? We'll see. I love what I've seen out of Malachi in practice, by the way, and I love what we've seen on the field. But this is a bigger shit sandwich than just quarterback play. It's all of the above. And that's what I think people are getting hung up on, this one position, and they're not looking at the entire thing. It's just, I don't think Malachi is enough to move the needle. This is a reflection of their head coach. We could sit here and bitch about the quarterback play and the offensive line and receivers dropping balls, but at the end of the day, I went over all the mistakes. Brim, I went over all the mistakes today. Special teams. Is Taylon Green returning kicks? No, he's not. Is he muffing punts, running into the punt returner? No, he's not. Is he getting a penalty on an interception that ended up getting turned around? We can argue about whether or not it was a penalty. The fact of the matter is it happened. Is he making those mistakes? No, he's not. It's all the above. I agree. Taylon Green gives me it drives me crazy. But I don't think Malachi changes much. I really don't. It's beyond him. It's like voting for the president, right? There's so many more issues than just Donald Trump being elected president. There's so many other issues with this country, right?
But Ty, we're in a battleground. But this is a battleground state. This is Pennsylvania right here. This is a battle. We are a battleground football team right now. We're in a battleground mode right now for survival, of being better than mediocre or below mediocre. So it is something to it. And I told you, Colorado lost today, but I told you that there are two other quarterbacks that's getting pressured just as much as Taylor, and they doing a better
you're
job at handling the
comparing
pressure than Taylor does.
Shador Sanders to Taylon Green in the schedule that Colorado plays compared to what Arkansas plays? Are you for real? By the way, Andrew Armstrong fumbled the ball today. That wasn't on Taylon Green. So again, we go down the list of all these issues and we're just going quarterback's awful. We could point out that he runs into defenders. I've griped about that every week. I've griped that I want to see a real quarterback battle. I want to see substitutions. I want shots fired across the green bow to let him know, dude, your job is not safe. Malachi needs an opportunity. I've said that multiple times. But again, it's not because I think it alters anything. It's because I want better play out of a quarterback. I want Green to get pushed. He's been the guy since day one. For whatever reason, he is, and he's the guy so far. And I have a list here of issues that happened today that were not on Green outside of his interception. He gets sacked. John Haas brought that up, and it's a good point. He gets sacked. It's an average of like 7 to 8 yards per loss off sacks instead of a yard loss or just throwing the ball away. We could sit here all night and complain about Green, and I will agree. But again, Malachi is not enough to shift things around. He's just not. These issues are bigger than just quarterback play. Could he maybe have an impact? Maybe. But would it be enough that Arkansas is looking at an 8-win season on the year? I don't think so. We'll just have to agree to disagree there. But again, you cannot overlook and you can't deny that this team has a mountain of issues. And today
it's more than just the quarterback, but also personnel decisions as well. I mean, how long did it take them to not have Broden starting? Like, why would we keep starting Broden every single week? And we talking about the receivers not, living up to. Well, you're not putting them in the proper positions. Why is Broden getting more run than Tesla? Tesla is a person that doesn't drop balls. Why are we not running Tesla out there more on the field? The thing is, we say they don't get open, but we always talk about plays to where they miss an open receiver. So which one is it?
Look, multiple things can be true at once. I mean, come on, multiple things can be true at once, and that is exactly what's going on. Multiple things are true. Everything's true. And I know it's hard to knock the defense because they did play. I mean, tip my cap.
I wish I didn't have to go to work, but we won, so I don't need to drink. But sometimes the Arkansas making me drink.
Well, the defense this year has been abysmal. They're bottom 5 in like every category in the SEC, and they've been a big problem. Today they played great. I'm going to tip my cap. They actually got 3 sacks today. I thought they'd be like at 1 or 2. They got 3.
You said the defense has been abysmal? Was they abysmal versus Texas A&M?
Texas A&M's not a very good offense. I mean, they've not been a very good offense.
The defense has been abysmal in 2 games. The defense has been abysmal in 2 games, and one of those games, the reason why they were abysmal is because the offense was abysmal and they just stayed on the field too long.
The defense is fine. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying the defense is fine. The back end, but the thing is, somebody mentioned something to me, and it made me scratch my head, made me think about it. Maybe Ole Miss smoked us the way they smoked us because Paul knows exactly what they're going to be doing, and he told his team, "Hey, listen, this is what they're going to do," and maybe they had the inside track on this. Maybe
that's hard. That's hard for me to believe because number one, this is a different offense, different quarterback, different running back.
You're right. I didn't think you're right. Bobby P was not there last year. You're right. So yeah, and the thing is, I watched Florida with a true freshman quarterback beat Ole Miss, and it makes me say, okay, Ole Miss obviously is not a world-beating team. They're a good team, but they're not. So obviously they're not this good to be scoring 63 points on somebody. So obviously it's something wrong with our team. If Florida can come in, 2 months ago, everybody was saying throw the coach away. He lost his starting quarterback, had his backup, get hurt and go to a third screen and still fight against Georgia and still put up a fight. And then they come back and win at home against Ole Miss with their quarterback that's not 100%.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that gets me is that I see so many teams from multiple different places when they are great records to medium records to bad records where the quarterback has moments where they don't play good enough or skill position guys don't play quite good enough and they get put and another player comes in their place. I feel like Pittman, and I might have to say Bobby P too, where it's over loyal. You're over loyal to a player that's not performing. This is a performance-based business. If Broden is not performing, why is he starting every freaking game?
Yeah.
Now they made changes on the defensive end in the secondary. They brought in Stewart. They put some people in the start and put some people on the bench. Why they ain't do that on offense? Why they wait till the 9th game of the year to do that?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, why didn't we see these changes earlier in the year? Why didn't they identify these problems in the offseason? I mean, again, I'll say it. There should have been a legitimate battle at quarterback, and there wasn't. And it's why we're in the situation we're in, I think. I mean, it'd be a different story if we had seen Malachi and he looked like Dookie with the ones. Then we'd be saying, well, we know what he did in practice, why he didn't win the job, because he didn't win it in practice. But we don't have that. We have Green always with the ones. And I'm on Team Malachi. That's what's funny about all of this. I'm on Team Malachi. But I see it as there's so many deficiencies with this team. There's so many mental mistakes. The penalties today, are you kidding me? Like it's absurd. And to me, it's a reflection of Sam. And I don't know that anything changes. I don't know how much it matters bringing everybody back for another year, no matter what they do at quarterback. Because at the end of the day, the game manager, the time manager is Sam Pittman. And he does not pass that test very often.
You know what? I agree with you, but see, you just said something that kind of struck a chord with me. What's the most important position on the field?
Well, it's quarterback, 100%.
So why are we gonna automatically assume? Now you did. I gotta give you credit. You said you don't think, you didn't put it in stone, but how can we say it's set in stone that if Malachi wasn't the quarterback, that we would not be performing better overall?
Because of all the other deficiencies you have are as much of a problem, if not more.
Remember, I told you a quarterback can make your offensive line look better or make it look worse. If a quarterback has a quick release and gets the ball out fast and it has good timing, it can then make it, instead of you getting sacked 6 times in the game, you might only get sacked twice in the game because your quarterback has a quicker release. He's more decisive with the ball under pressure.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, but man, when you're pressured 40% of your dropbacks, I mean, you just want him to play lights out perfect when he's under pressure like that? No quarterback does that. I'm not asking
him to be perfect. I'm just not asking him to run back 15 yards.
And again, I've talked about that, man. I have complained about that. I have said that this is a problem that he has. Again, I don't know what to expect out of these two guys in the offseason, assuming, and I don't think both of them come back. I really do think Malachi is probably going to leave. I'd love it if he didn't, because I want him to do it here. But
I swear before cheese and crackers, if Malachi is not our quarterback and he ends up leaving, I'm gonna be highly upset. Highly.
I won't. Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. But yeah, I think the deficiencies on this team are so glaring, and then it's also the big guy. It's strange to me that we're so willing to point out quarterback play. It feels like we're taking blame off of Sam. And that's my thing. I think the blame should go ultimately to Sam. He's not executing the plays on the field. I get that. He's not the one holding and dropping muffin punts and dropping passes. I get it. But it seems more often than not, his teams are either not excited to take the field, underprepared. Again, we can go back to the clock management issue. We can go back to his statement that he made last year about not knowing what to do. This guy just seems sometimes like he's in over his head more times than not. And I think that is the result of what we're seeing with this offense. I think everything that is wrong with the team is ultimately, especially when you've got 5 years and some of the same things just keep happening. You look at special teams, it's got to be a reflection of the guy who hires the special teams coach, right? It's a reflection of the guy that's recruiting. It's a reflection of the guy going out into the portal and signing off on who these other assistants should be targeting and talking to. It's a reflection of Sam Pittman. I will agree with everything you say about Green because you're dead on, but multiple things can be true at once. Yes, I think a quarterback can make offensive line better, but ultimately, man, we've seen too many times where guys just get out physical. That's not
also, I wanted to point something out, man. A part of the fan base with this Petrino, a head coach, give it up.
It ain't happening.
It ain't happening, Jack. No. He's going to either be the OC here or have a lateral move to another program as an OC. That's it. That's all you're going to see from Petrino. He don't want to be a head coach. When we going to get it through our thick skulls, we want Petrino to be the coach like this is 08 or something. Like, come on. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah,
I mean, I think Petrino's still a good mind, and he has a good play calling, but I don't think he's this world beater,
Kelly, I just disagree. I think you lose. I think the odds are you're going to lose no matter who you play at quarterback. I really do.
See, I that's where me and you be beefing, because I personally believe there's some games I've watched and I'm like, man, if Malachi was the quarterback, he would have did something differently, and we would have won the game.
I don't think it matters. I really don't, man.
I think it
the
does.
other deficiencies with this team just outshine everything.
but bro, a quarterback is the most important position.
I'm
A
not
quarterback
denying
can
that.
cover up so many deficiencies. A hell of a quarterback who can throw the ball
don't know
to his
that.
receivers quickly and get the job done can cover up a lot of deficiencies.
What about the drop throws, the fumbles?
Okay, well, let me get
the flags.
Check this out. Let me hit you with the drop balls. We've had some drops, no doubt about it. But some of those drops is a result of two things. When you're throwing to a guy that got three guys about to drill his face off, that's one. Two, that you saw the catch that Armstrong made today, that one arm catch that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
You have too many balls like that. They're not really dead on target. So the players are having to make adjustments to make catches instead of being hit in stride more often. Not saying that they have not had drops, but some of those drops are pertaining to the inaccuracies of the quarterback.
So you don't believe that if a ball hits you in the hands, you should catch it?
I believe you should catch it, but I'm not going to be dumb and blind and say, well, it touched his hands, but the man had to halfway turn his body another direction instead of getting hit in the hands and leading the receiver and having his momentum where he can continue. He's having to adjust his body to make a catch because the ball is not on target.
I don't argue at all that he doesn't throw these guys in stride. And it started to get better, and then today happened. And then he's throwing behind his guys again. Today was weird. Today was very strange. He all the things that he was doing better took a back seat today, especially in that first half. And some of those were with a clean pocket. So again, multiple things can be true at once, man. But I've seen multiple catchable balls, Brim, get dropped. Multiple. And Broden is a shining example of that. Armstrong has at least a couple of drops. I would argue they were both catchable. But luckily you have Armstrong that you can rely on. So I don't know. I think it's, again, we'll agree to disagree, but I think it's a lot of issues across the board.
Yeah, I think our receiving core from top to bottom is much better than they got a chance to display because our quarterback is a one, maybe two read quarterback at best. That's my personal.
Be a two read. I mean, I don't argue with that. He might be a two read guy, but
Tesla and Haas is definitely not benefited.
Yeah,
I think Malachi Malachi Singleton led Arkansas team. Those two receivers would have benefited so much for him being a quarterback.
Well, your check down certainly would, because that's something that I thought kind of stood out with him in camp. Like, he wasn't afraid to throw to his underneath routes. You know, those guys running drag routes. You know, and I had someone several weeks ago, oh, well, see, Ty, you're saying the receivers would benefit with Malachi on the field. What I'm saying is those guys that run those underneath routes would absolutely benefit with Malachi. I don't know if that makes the offense much better or not. Maybe it would, but I don't know. I agree with what he said here, though. T-Dub says, we're getting slaughtered next week. TG's just bad, but Sam Pittman is worse.
See, the thing is, TG's not bad. That's the thing. That's what makes it so difficult, because TG's not bad.
Well, I should say Sam Pittman being worse part, I agree with.
Oh, yeah. He's uneven. And as a quarterback, unless your skill set transcends, those type of, like, unless you Brent Favre transcending in certain ways, those mistakes is gonna kill you. You can't be uneven like that. You can't have it where, one throw is good, then the next throw is trash. You got to have consistency. And that's what I feel like to be lacking with a TG-led Arkansas team, the consistency. And we've been starting off games so bad. Since Tennessee game, we have not had a good start in the game since Tennessee.
It's been a tale of two halves. And you could probably say that's been most of the year anyways, though, if you go back to, like, Oklahoma State. Like,
no, we had a great first half and a crappy second half.
Oh man, well, that's what I'm saying. It was a tale of two halves. You come out in the first 6 quarters of the season, you looked unbeatable, and then you kick yourself in your own ass. You trip over your own shoes, Brim. It's just, I don't know. It's funny because it's like I agree with everything everyone's saying about the criticisms. I think I'm focused more on all the deficiencies with this team, and I don't know if they're going to be able to fix all this stuff. And I know they're talking about revenue sharing and all this, but it feels to me like all that's happening is the
hamster in the wheel.
It's it's creating an even playing field because NIL is not going anywhere, but the top and the rich are going to get richer. That's all that feels like to me. Like this might actually be a disadvantage. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I don't know about the future of Arkansas football, and I don't know. And that's the other thing. What is the big picture plan with Arkansas football? What is
that big picture plan? Don't kick in until 2026 after we go 4-8 next year.
Probably, you might be right, man. I don't know. I don't know.
Our schedule next year is way tougher, and if we don't kill it in the portal,
oh man,
and Malachi ain't our quarterback, and TG's the quarterback,
yeah,
I don't even know what I'm gonna do with myself. I mean, listen, I have never fully tuned out my Razorbacks. Next year might test me.
Oh.
Next year it may test me for a game or two.
Right there it is, big picture, sustainable mediocrity.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It really does. Brim, you're my boy.
I love you, Ty.
You're my boy. I love you, man. I love it when you call in. We might not agree all the time, but at the end of the day, we both want what's best for Arkansas. And I
feel like what's best, and what I feel like is best is a little MS, and I ain't talking about multiple sclerosis. You know what I mean? Listen, again, if she watches any of this, Mrs. Singleton, convince your son to make sure he stays and he goes and wins that job. Because I personally feel that I am looking at a Baker Mayfield 2.0 when he gets his chance. I feel it in my bones that if he gets a chance to play, he's going to turn it into a pro career because he's going to look good.
I don't like to project that far out, but
I'm doing it. I'm a fan. I don't have to be responsible. You got to be responsible. I ain't got to be responsible.
He's got it. I think he does, and that's why I told you last night. Did I not say I think his ceiling is higher? I did say that.
Yep, and that's another thing. People talking about the Green's ceiling is higher. How can you say his ceiling is higher when we've seen the best of him already?
Yeah.
I mean, does anybody disagree with me? Does anybody think we've not seen the best of TG?
The pushback, though, again, is the offense. It is the language of the offense. It's the style of the offense. That is the pushback. That's what, you're going to get met with, right? And I agree with some of that. It is different. A different vernacular. All that stuff matters. You're not just going to walk in and get it, and the offense is great, We're either caught in the middle of just the progression of this offense and Taylor Green and everyone just getting better, getting on the same page. Maybe they get it all put together, right? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. That's what the offseason's for, right? Maybe that's what's happening. Or B, we're just seeing the same, and we're not going to see much change in the offseason. It's going to be a Taylor Green ran offense, and Taylor Green's very limited in terms of his ceiling, and not much changes, and we're just sitting here kind of, I don't know, floating around in circles and not really going anywhere. And then, like you said, Pittman loses his job because guess what? If it is B, then you're going 4-8, 5-7, and you're not bringing that back. No chance in hell. No chance in hell.
You know what, Ty? I just realized something too. I was thinking about it. I think I'm upset at Bobby P right now.
Why?
Because there was a quarterback here that chose to be here from the jump street, and he didn't even give him an opportunity to win the job. And we've watched an entire season with the guy that you brought have not a large enough amount of progression to sustain winning. And we've seen too many flashes from the time that we got from Malachi to make us say, why are you not giving this guy a shot? TG has had 3 games where he's had a complete horrible half, and only one of those games they was able to they put Malachi in. The only reason why they put him in because Ole Miss had us beat by 160 points.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have never got any burn, and I don't understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. You know, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I said last night, there have been times this year where I thought, why isn't Malachi on the field?
The last 3 games, I think we've all said this at one point in the first half of every game in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Texas today. Yo, little Joker, please, man. Listen, bro. I'm from Margaret Singleton, Mrs. Singleton. Tell your son to stay. Have your son stay and win this job because I just got this feeling in I got a weird feeling in my bones that that if he ends up winning the job and he's a quarterback, I think he's going to do something. He's just going to do something.
Yeah.
Sometimes all the deficiencies that you pointed out, right? All true. But the right quarterback on the team can cover up certain deficiencies when that quarterback is in sync with his teammates and is offensively proficient. Because we've seen in college and pros where a team didn't have good defense, they weren't able really to run the ball that well, but the quarterback was phenomenal and they always had a chance to win. And they won more games than they lost by a good deal. There was a year when Peyton Manning was a winning quarterback and the defense was not good and they couldn't run the ball.
I think you're froze.
No, I froze.
Oh.
I was paused.
Yeah. Well, I always hesitate to compare to NFL,
No, I'm just saying, I say NFL and college, though. There has been said we can go, if we went from top to bottom, we could go find some teams right now that has some big deficiencies on the defense, have some problems running the football, but because of the quality of the quarterback, and I already know I pointed out Shador already, but there's a couple more else out there. Look at Cam. Look at Cam Ward. How many games Miami probably should have lost? They should have lost like 5 games, bro. But that quarterback, he got that it factor. He got it.
Yeah. I don't know that I don't know if he has the it factor or not. I love his athleticism. I love what he can do with his legs. We saw it a little bit today. When he's fully healthy, he can run. I mean, he can do that, and he can make plays out of the pocket from time to time if he's not throwing 5 miles above somebody's head.
But see, the thing is, to get me is we saw Malachi running as well, and it was a different type of run, but it was effective as well.
Yeah. Pavia's, I don't know if that's a good, I don't know. Pavia's a very special player. I love watching that dude play.
Anybody in the chat telling me to get off Malachi? No, you get off TG. I'm not getting off Malachi. I wanted him to be the quarterback. I've been on Malachi the moment he decided to become an Arkansas Razorback. I went back and watched all his footage, and I said, this guy got the intangibles to be a really good quarterback if they give him an opportunity and he cultivates. So don't tell me to get off a quarterback that I've been for, decided to come to Arkansas from the jump street. I don't care what you think. I'm sharing my opinion, regardless if you disagree with it or not. I respect it. Like Ty, I respect your opinion. But when somebody tells me they get off something, the hell with what you talking about. I don't care what you talking about. I'm speaking freely, openly, and honestly. I've been on Malachi's bandwagon from the jump street. Period.
Arkansas will beat Mizzou and win 10 games next year. Book it, says Mark W.
Mark, if that happens, just remember this. Quote, find the time stamp on this. If we win 10 games, I'll buy you a ticket to the bowl game. If we win, matter of fact, that's the playoffs. If we win 10 games, we go to the playoffs. I'll buy you a ticket to the first game of the playoffs if we win 10 games. Matter of fact, I'll buy you 2. You can take a guess with you. That's how confident I don't think that's going to happen. But I hope you're right because I love Arkansas. You got it, Mark. Now, matter of fact, how about this, though? I'm going to give you some. Now, you got to give me something if they don't win 8 games. What you want, Mark, and it's got to be less than what mine is because my odds are better than yours. I'm going to be frank. So what you want to do, Mark, what you going to get me if we only win 8 games?
Yeah.
Maybe you should give me a ticket to a Hogs hoop game. And I'll lower it to 7 to be
Those
fair.
shouldn't be hard to get a hold of, for crying out loud.
Maybe it might be hard because all the season ticket holders.
University's trying to.
Some people are always excited about the second string treatment. No, Justin. I wasn't excited about last year. I wasn't on no Criswell train. I just know that KJ had checked out on the team. But I wasn't sitting here screaming for Criswell. It ain't about the second guy. It's about the person that I see that's a quarterback. It's only him. It ain't about the second string. It's about him individually and his skill set. I'm not going to let y'all do that. I ain't going to let y'all get away with that. It's garbage.
It's going to be you versus all this chat. All right, we'll
Criswell. I mean, comparing him to Criswell, comparing to Hornsby, like
no, I think Malachi's got a higher ceiling than both those dudes. I really do.
He's already shown more in mop up duty than both of those guys did combined. Yeah. So stop.
All right, I think that is we're gonna wrap it up here. Brim says with Malachi, we're gonna win. We're gonna go undefeated next year. So write that down.
I did not say that. Now. I ain't lost in the sauce now. I ain't delusional now. I might be a little over anxious for my guy, but delusional I cannot be.
Yeah.
But I hope we beat Ole Miss. I hope we beat Missouri because I'm tired of losing to them bums, and they're not really all that. You know, I mean, listen. At the end of the day, I think Pittman is back here regardless, and I'm not going to wish the team to lose just so the coach can get fired. I'm not going to do that. So please go beat Missouri. Please, please. So we won't be in the Chester Cheetos Bowl. Maybe we can go to the Meineke Car Bowl instead or something. I don't know.
Slightly better bowl, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it is one step above. We'll probably face an 8-win team if we win 7 games, and instead of facing Buffalo Soldiers, dreadlock rosters.
Man, it does change the narrative though of the offseason. Like it will if they win that game. I mean, it will. You're talking about 7 wins versus 6. I mean, no matter what, you had a winning regular season. So it will change the narrative. I don't know if anything changes on the field, but the narrative will change.
It might help. It might even help out with a little bit of transfer portal.
Yeah, give you a little bit more faith in what's going on. Yeah,
I mean, just you got to have something because that's why it was so tough last year, and that's why I felt like they should have fired him last year because we had absolutely zero momentum, zero energy. We were all like. People say it's bad now. Last year was way worse than it is this year. Yeah. Way worse.
Yeah. Last year was bad, and that is if for everyone who's we're being too negative and all that. You're right. We're being negative, and especially after a win, we should probably be a little bit more positive. Fair enough. But for the folks that are looking for the thing to be positive about, they are a better team compared to a year ago. Despite some of these numbers on defense being what they are, despite the personnel deficiencies, the lack of depth along the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball in the secondary, they're still a better team than what they were a year ago. That's the positive I can give you. I'm not saying that beating Mizzou is not that it doesn't have a seat at the table. I think it does. It's going to take a lot, though. And, quarterback play's got to be so much better if you want to beat Missouri. So, all right, Brim. I appreciate you calling in, man.
Always, man. Let me get ready to go to work. Boo.
Well, have a good night at work, man. Don't work too hard.
I'm not. It's the last one until next Friday, so I'm going to go ahead and, do what
there you go. Hey, and look at it, too. 2-0 on the weekend. I mean, doesn't matter who it was against. 2-0.
Take the wins. I mean, listen, they might have been unbiased Brims, but they won nevertheless. So
that's right. They won.
Take the win, and we'll try again.
It's a lot better than 0-2. That's for sure. I appreciate you, man.
Always, my brother.
Take it easy.
You too.
So we have. Whoop, is that the right one? Nope, it's not. That's the right one. There we go. Nope, right there. I appreciate everyone calling in. We had great calls. Listen, I'm going to let people speak through their what they believe. I'm going to let them talk, and we're going to have a conversation. That's kind of what I like about what I do here. we have a conversation. We may not always agree, but I do think that there are some positives with this team this year. There are. You're going to a bowl game. Look at it this way. That's more reps for the guys that are maybe coming back next year. That's more opportunities. More opportunities maybe for Malachi if they want to open up their eyes and actually let this guy compete for some playing time. It's not going to happen this year. But, unless, God forbid, we're not hoping anyone gets hurt. But unless Green gets hurt, that's the only way Malachi is going to make it onto the field. But, it's another opportunity for everyone to just get better, know the system better. And that's going to be the pitch in the offseason of these players. Absolutely. To the guys that have eligibility, to Luke has, to, whoever you want back that has some eligibility left, that's going to be the pitch. Hey, look, we're better than what we were in 2023. This is better. We're going to get some more parts in, and we're going to have a better product on the field. That's what they're going to say. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but that's going to be the pitch in the offseason. And then it's all about what you do from there, right? And so a bowl game, even if you don't like Green, even if you don't like Petrino, even if you don't want Sam back, and I understand all those points, it is another chance to maybe figure some things out and get some things. It's another game to get better. So if you lose to Missouri and you lose your bowl game, well, now you're sub 500. So then the narrative changes again, and not in a great way. Mark W says Green is better than Singleton at this point, and I think that's. I'm not prepared to say that he's better because we don't have a large enough sample size to really compare the two. I do think Malachi's ceiling is higher, but I could see the argument as to why Green is better because he's had more reps with the ones. He's had more time to grow with the ones and the starters than Malachi. So maybe I'm off base when I say that Malachi was never given a shot. Maybe Bobby just saw something he didn't like in Malachi. I don't know. But I have a feeling Jackson probably stays and Malachi probably goes. And it's going to be Green and Jackson. And then next year we can have that conversation. Well, Jackson, put in Jackson. It's going to be that, right? So I don't know. But we'll just have to wait and let this thing play itself out. Mark says, I trust Petrino. And listen, that's fair. That is fair because this guy, you're so much better in so many categories on offense compared to where you were at even the last 2 years. Not just last year. The last 2 years, there are some areas you're a little bit better. There's also some areas where you're not better. And scoring is one of those. And not finishing off these drives. Listen, they're averaging 24 points a play in SEC play. They're averaging 24 points per game. That's not enough to get it done. Especially when you fumble the ball as much as this team does. When Green, we know Green's good for a turnover or two every single week. Every single week he's due for those. And he's going to put you behind the line of scrimmage. And you're going to be in 3rd and 15 with this guy at quarterback. You just are. He runs backwards and it drives me crazy. Drives me nuts. It's like his pocket awareness has gotten worse somehow. I don't know. But we talked about all the mistakes today. And this was against Louisiana Tech. This was not against an SEC opponent. There were so many, and I'm probably missing one or I got one wrong, but I don't think it, we don't have to look that hard. There are so many problems outside of Green today, and that's the point that I'm making. There are so many issues with this team. So it is a giant shit sandwich, and it's not just Arkansas. And I say shit sandwich. Let's call it a bad sandwich. Maybe it's not a shit sandwich, but it's not a good sandwich. Maybe I'm being too harsh when I call it a shit sandwich because there are some good things with this offense. I know that's, hard to see right now. I mean, at the same time, they did just score 35 points. I know it's Louisiana Tech, but 35-14 is the win. So, I mean, there are some things to be happy about, especially on defense. But to be fair, Louisiana Tech is really bad on offense. Well, to be fair, Josh, I don't completely disagree with what you're saying, but there's also been how many drops in the end zone this year? 3? Broden's got 2. Centenia's got 1. I mean, it doesn't help when you probably don't have a lot of faith. That's the other thing we don't talk about, why he only targets Armstrong. He may not have faith in his other receivers. I mean, those guys are – and it's not just Broden. Other receivers have dropped balls. Number 11, Centenia. The freshman receiver whose name is escaping my mind. Remember, he had that drop right on the sidelines. Was it Desmond James? No, maybe it was. So maybe that's part of the issue too. Maybe it's just Green getting more and more comfortable. However, my God, you've played 11 games this year. Why is it taking you so long? I don't know. Bumbles bounces. I love the Hogs. Win or lose, but I hate being embarrassed. That game was embarrassing for the university. Well, listen, again, the spread was 22.5. You won 35-14. I don't know that the first half was embarrassing, yes, but they did get it done. And they did. It wasn't a close win. It didn't feel like 35-14. It feels more like a 21-14 win. So I get that, but I wouldn't say it was embarrassing necessarily, but I see what you're saying. The first half was pretty bad. Arky56 says I had Arkansas winning 42-10. Well, you weren't too far off, I guess. You really weren't. They scored 4 more points, and Arkansas scored 7 fewer points for that prediction. Was it C.J. Brown that had okay, but it wasn't just C.J. Brown. Pretty sure it was one of the other. It was either Desmond James. Oh, that's gonna bother me. Yeah, C.J. Brown. You're right. C.J. Brown did have he also had the fumble. Bobby Schiss says after the first quarter, the game was never in doubt. I'd say about halfway through the second quarter. Yeah, and see, when you say things like this, okay, TG's not getting better. He's not going to get better. He has no more upside. These are the same numbers he put up 2 years ago at Boise. This is the only point that I'm trying to make when I say this. His numbers, first off, you're comparing Boise State, right? They don't play Texas A&M, Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, Texas. They don't play this schedule. The other thing, I'll say it again, it's the first year in a complicated with a complicated offense. You could say I'm making excuses for Green. That's fine, but it doesn't make you right and me wrong. What I'm saying is true. What I'm saying has been repeated by outsiders and insiders. This is not an offense someone's going to walk into and get. There's going to be communication breakdowns. There's going to be slip-ups here and there. And listen, you can say the same thing about the offensive line. Maybe they're also trying to figure it out. And that's fair. That's a fair argument. But it doesn't negate what's happening on the field. This is what I hate about quarterback controversies, and we've had 2 now the last 2 years, and I'm just whatever. Again, I think everyone's right at the same time, and I think some people are a little, they just want to throw it all at Green and just ignore everything else. And I'm not saying Brim was doing that, and I'm not saying everybody who disagrees is doing that, but there are some people that are doing that. They just want to put it on Green and pretend like, well, Malachi makes everything better. And I just don't think it's that simple. I just don't. I have watched every game, most of them twice, and I'm telling you, this team has so many problems. They've made some changes in the secondary, but they still have depth chart issues there. Linebacker, they're pretty average. They don't have a lot of depth along the offensive line. Skill position guys are pretty limited outside of Armstrong. Guys are having a hard time staying healthy. You look at Jaquindon Jackson this year, Rodney Hill, DeBinion, like everyone has had injury issues. This stuff matters, and this stuff has played a part in the bigger picture of things. Absolutely. And again, the most important part, this is not a plug-in and play system. It's just not, unless you've got a really special quarterback. And I don't think they have that guy on campus. Now, next year, during the offseason, who knows? Maybe Green gets better. Maybe he gets worse. I don't know. Maybe the personnel gets better and we see the offense actually start to do a little bit better. But might be hard to tell because that schedule next year is going to be pretty damn brutal. That schedule next year. Oh my God, it's gonna be tough, man. Having this O-line is not having a front door to your house. Come on in. I don't think you're wrong. Wait till next year, sadly, but my point will be proven. You know how many times I've heard that 360? You know how many times I've heard that, and then those folks disappear when they're wrong. Listen, I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know. I really don't, because we haven't seen enough of Malachi. I can't read that, Kelly. That doesn't make sense. Mark says Green has more talent, in my opinion. Arkansas just needs better pass protection. I will admit he does hold on to the ball too long at times, but he will learn. Maybe this is all part of the. Like I said, it's either A, we're just seeing the process unfold before our eyes, and we're very impatient because of how bad they've been. Arkansas has been the last 2 years, especially last year with a 4-8 season, and we're just being impatient. We want to see better play out of the quarterback, and we're not being patient with what actually unfolds when you're developing a quarterback and an offense. We're just being impatient. So maybe it's A, maybe it's option A, or it's option B. Green is actually just bad the whole time. He's not a good quarterback. And maybe we'll see that if Malachi gets the job, and we'll see just how bad Green was. That's entirely possible too. That is entirely possible. I don't know which one's happening. I hope it's A. I think we should all hope that it's A. I think we should all hope that this is just the middle of the development and what happens. This is what we were told when Petrino was the head coach the first time, especially after that first season. I can remember the rhetoric being, this is not going to work. He's not going to cut it out as a head coach in the SEC, despite being a coordinator in the SEC. It's not going to work. And then what happened? You gradually got better. Now, to be fair, that's also before the NIL era. That's before the transfer portal era. But the point remains the same, that it takes a couple of years to learn this offense. It's not simple. It is not. It is typically not a plug-and-play offense. The one guy that kind of defied that, though, last year was Connor Wigman at A&M. And I will grant you that. And that's why I'm shocked at how bad Wigman has been at A&M. I know he's had some health issues, but I'm very surprised that Wigman isn't doing better. And that might just speak more to Petrino, right? And that could also be what's going on, is Petrino's play calling is covering up some of TG's other deficiencies. That could also be happening, right? I think that's fair too. My whole thing has always been, let's let it play itself out. And whoever, whatever. If you guys are right, wonderful. If that means Arkansas's getting more, if we're seeing better progress and we're seeing more wins unfold, great. Then we all win. Wonderful. I don't know what's happening right now. I don't know if we're in the middle of A, the development process, or if we're in the middle of B. This is all just a giant shit show. I don't know. All right. Officially, we're done. We're done here. We're going to end it there. Listen, we can all agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, just grab you a beer, or in my case, whiskey and Coke. Light up a cigar. Don't take it too seriously. Don't lose too much sleep over it. At the end of the day, we all want what's best for Arkansas. I know some people are going to be pissed and they're going to complain, and you let that guy talk too long. He's so negative. I saw that comment. I'm unsubscribing. Okay. Sorry to see you go. Bye. But I appreciate you guys for sticking around, sticking it out. Nothing wrong with agreeing to disagree, and I think some of us are doing that, and that's fine. Again, at the end of the day, we just want to see Arkansas be better. Maybe that starts with changing the head coach, but I don't know. All right. Shout out to Patreon supporters. I appreciate each and every one of you. 122 members, man. 122 of you. That's awesome. I appreciate all of you. And, of course, our sponsor, Direct Service Overhead, same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results. Give them a call today at 501-244-3667. And, we'll be back next week. We got a game. Is it Monday? Basketball? Am I tripping? They got a game on Monday, right? November 25th, Monday. Crap. Okay, so Monday, here we go again. Back-to-back Mondays. Maryland Eastern Shore, we will cover it. I don't know if we're going to do like a Monday after show or not for during the day, but we will do a post-game show from Maryland Eastern Shore. Or what we might do, we might just do a show at like 5 and not do a post game because no one, let's be real, win or lose that game. Well, if you lose, yeah, everyone's going to be pissed, and I would definitely go live after that. But if it's a win, I may not go live. We may just knock out a 5 p.m. show and or a 5 or 6 p.m. show and just do that and talk about the weekend and maybe get prepared for this game and what's next for the Razorback football, right? So that is it. Go Hogs, beat Mizzou, says Kelly Williams. There you go, man. I appreciate all of you. Remember to like, share, subscribe. And listen, again, I want to make this clear. It's okay to disagree. That's fine. Take a deep breath. It's all going to be okay. There's other things more important than football. This is literally my job, and I'm saying that. This is literally my job, and I'm saying that. There are bigger things than football, family, all that stuff, right? Thanksgiving is coming up. If I don't see you before then, happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you at one point or another on Monday. You guys be good, all right? Okay. I'm trying to find my outro. Here we go. There's the outro. Boom. See you guys.